Being called up for the national team is the greatest honor any footballer can receive. On the other hand, it's not the most practical thing in the world, because it means working twice as much for the same pay, and some players eventually get tired of it.
Hey there! You might know Barak in Spanish. Our channel has over 400,000 subscribers. Well, this is the official English version. Same content, same passion. Now in your language. But we need your help to grow. Hit that subscribe button and join us on this new journey. Now, let's get back to the video.
It's no secret that we're living through the golden era of Norwegian football. Erling Haaland, Martin Odegaard, Oscar Bob, Antonio Nusa, Jørgen Strand Larsen, Alexander Sørloth, Julian Andersen. But in their long-awaited return to the World Cup, the Norwegian national team will be missing a fundamental piece. A semi-unknown and versatile all-terrain midfielder named Fredrik Orsnes, who has spent 4 seasons as an unquestionable starter in Benfica's midfield. Everyone complains about the irrational match-load footballers are subjected to nowadays, yet no one does anything about it. Orsnes, however, fed up with that damn rhythm that made him age 10 years every month of his life, chose to make a decision prioritizing his physical and mental health, choosing between his club and his national team, since there simply isn't enough time for both. And of course, since Norway doesn't pay him anything beyond travel expenses, the decision was quite easy, telling Haaland, Odegaard and company, ha det bra, which basically means see ya in Norwegian. That's how in 2023, at 27 years old and after 20 matches, 1 goal and 3 assists, Orsnes retired from the Norwegian national team. Edin Dzeko keeps trying with Bosnia and Herzegovina. Jan Oblak hasn't thrown in the towel with Slovenia. Vicha Kvaratskhelia is still excited, at least for now, about representing Georgia. But Hendrik Mkhitaryan got tired long ago of dragging his prestige around with his compatriots in the Armenian national team. In the qualifiers for South Africa 2010, Armenia, led by a young Mkhitaryan, finished last. 4 years later, on the road to Brazil 2014, they improved, but still finished second to last. Then, in the qualifiers for the 2018 World Cup in Russia, Armenia again ended up second to last in their group. Hendrik said goodbye during the qualifying campaign for the Qatar 2022 World Cup. His last 2 matches were a heavy home defeats, 1-4 to Germany and 0-5 to North Macedonia. That's when the midfielder said, "That's enough, thanks for nothing," and sent his national team to hell at 32 years old, not before leaving his skin in 95 matches, in which Mkhitaryan recorded a very respectable 32 goals and 25 assists. At the 2026 North American World Cup, Croatia will miss one of its greatest legends, a not-so-old veteran of 99 battles. Marcelo Brozovic is 32 years old, almost 10 years younger than Luka Modric, but he already got tired of making history with the Croatian national team. Brozovic wore the checkered jersey for the first time at the 2014 World Cup in Brazil against the host nation. He was then a cornerstone of the midfield in the team that finished runners-up in Russia 2018 and again in the third-place run at Qatar 2022. Brozovic was essential in 3 European championships, the most recent being Germany 2024. The heartbreaking elimination in the last play of the match against Italy was Marcelo's final game for Croatia. At 31 years old and with 99 national team appearances, he decided there was no need to reach 100. Although the remains of Leroy Sané now rest in the Turkish Super League, he continues to be called up to the Germany's national team, unlike his teammate İlkay Gündoğan, who announced last year that they should finally let him rest. Now, saying Germany will miss Gündoğan at the World Cup will be misinformation. For South Africa 2010, the brilliant midfielder wasn't called up because he was too young. He couldn't attend Brazil 2014 due to back problems. At Russia 2018, Gündoğan was a substitute behind Toni Kroos, Sami Khedira, Leon Goretzka, and even Sebastian Rudy played more minutes than him. Finally, at Qatar 2022, the veteran was a starter at last. But Germany played 3 losing matches and were sent home early. Gündoğan's best moment with the national team was Euro 2024, where he was captain. However, instead of seeking a new shot at a World Cup, Gundo decided that 33 was the perfect age to announce his retirement from international football. Edinson Cavani, like so many other veterans, retired from the national team mostly to avoid the headache of every time he wasn't called up. The Uruguayan is a bit of an oddball by football standards. In 2020, he refused to extend his contract with Paris Saint-Germain by just 3 months after the pandemic. And with that surprising decision, he gave up the chance to play in the first Champions League final in the club's history, the same club to which he had given the best years of his career. Later on, Cavani once again showed his principles and refused to say goodbye to the national team at the 2024 Copa America, even though he was called up by Marcelo Bielsa. He left after scoring 58 goals in 136 matches for La Celeste, making him the second highest scorer in Uruguay's history. The all-time top scorer of the Charrúas, however, chose to swallow his pride and cling on to the national team until the very last breath. Luis Suarez not only played the 2024 Copa America, but 2 months later, during the World Cup qualifiers, he had the chance to live through the big door in his farewell match as Estadio Centenario against Paraguay. This after 4 World Cups in which he left behind 7 eternal goals, 5 assists, 1 handball, and 1 bite. Suarez, unlike Cristiano Ronaldo, Lionel Messi, and perhaps Neymar, knew he wasn't in the plans for the next World Cup and announced his departure 2 minutes before they could push him out. Switzerland is the most consistent national team in World Cup history. It never surprises, and it never disappoints. At Brazil 2014, they fell in the round of 16 against Argentina. At Russia 2018, they lost in the round of 16 against Sweden. At Qatar 2022, they once again stayed in the round of 16, this time thanks to Portugal. We could almost say the Swiss national team goes unnoticed every 4 years. A figure many people will ask about when the 2026 World Cup begins and they see Gregor Kobel in Switzerland's goal. The thing is, 2 historic goalkeepers announced their international retirement before the World Cup qualifiers: Keylor Navas, who ended up rescuing Costa Rica, and Jan Sommer, the Inter Milan goalkeeper who had his most glorious night saving that penalty against Mbappe that eliminated the world champions at Euro 2020, announced his farewell to the Swiss national team 4 years later. His last match was the penalty shootout defeat against England in the Euro 2024 quarterfinals. Sommer slipped away forever after 94 matches in which he conceded only 92 goals. Actually, it was 3 legendary goalkeepers who retired from the national teams in the summer of 2024. The third was the world champion and one of the greatest in history, Manuel Neuer, goalkeeper of the German national team in 4 World Cups and 4 European Championships, the last of them on home soil. 5 weeks after Germany was eliminated by Spain, Neuer announced his international retirement. He played 124 official matches with the Mannschaft, conceding 118 goals. And according to reports, he could change his mind and show up in the 2026 World Cup for his 5th appearance. Granit Xhaka will be the only somewhat recognizable reference point for the Swiss national team at the next World Cup, because aside from Jan Sommer, the Messi of the Alps won't be there either. Jordan Shaqiri, the eternal Shaqiri, played in 4 World Cups: South Africa 2010 when he was a kid, Brazil 2014 already as an adult, Russia 2018 as a veteran, and Qatar 2022 as a decrepit old man. The Swiss star is the only player who scored at least 1 goal in the 2014 World Cup, Euro 2016, the 2018 World Cup, Euro 2020, the 2022 World Cup, and Euro 2024. And no, Shaqiri didn't score just any goals. He will shoot through club matches, but in big tournaments with the national team, magical wings will sprout from him. Hard to believe after all he did, but Shaqiri decided to retire from the national team quite early, at just 32 years old. Ángel Di María returned to Rosario Central, where he has played 14 matches and scored 7 goals. Never in his career he had such a high goal per game ratio. El Fideo could have stretched it for a couple more years and played the 5th World Cup, but he warned in advance that no, the 2024 Copa America will be his definitive farewell to the Argentine national team. And with that, he achieved what very few legends manage: living as a champion. Di María was a starter at 4 World Cups and 6 editions of the Copa America. He was runner-up 3 times in a row, and then rose to become champion 3 straight times. He left with 31 goals and 32 assists in 145 matches, falling just too short of becoming the second most capped players in the history of the Albiceleste. Thomas Müller had 2 sensational World Cups and 2 disastrous ones. At South Africa 2010, he scored 5 goals and delivered 3 assists, and led Germany to a very meritorious and unexpected 3rd place. 4 years later, Müller repeated his astonishing numbers, another 5 goals and another 3 assists at Brazil 2014, and immortalized himself as a world champion. Müller was 24 years old. Who would have dared to think he will never again do absolutely anything with his national team? Euro 2016, 6 matches, 0 goals, 1 assist. World Cup Russia 2018, 3 matches, nothing at all. Euro 2020, 4 matches, absolutely nothing. Qatar 2022, 3 matches, 0 goals, 0 assists. The home Euro Germany 2024, Müller played 56 minutes and, as in the last 10 years, couldn't contribute to anything in what became his farewell tournament. Thomas, by the way, grew a bird and is stirring it up in MLS. He has played 10 matches, scored 9 goals and provided 4 assists. I mean, if Kroos retired and came back, why wouldn't Müller do the same? Usually, players who retire from their national team are already far from top-level football and play in countries like Saudi Arabia, Canada, Argentina, or Turkey. Antoine Griezmann's case is exceptional, because unlike Hugo Lloris, who left for MLS, or Karim Benzema, who went off to Saudi Arabia, the little princess is still fully relevant in the Champions League and in La Liga. In September 2024, the Frenchman unexpectedly announced his retirement from the national team at just 33 years old. According to L'Equipe, the fact that the captain's armband was given to a player with less seniority in the national team was decisive, and Griezmann abandoning the ship after 137 matches, 44 goals, 38 assists, and how could we forget, a World Cup.